morning, good evening or good afternoon. Whenever you're watching this, I'm Autumn Blossom and welcome back to the channel. So, I realised that the kind of research that I was doing, watching films, playing games, reading, is all great, except they take time, and this is kind of a time-sensitive matter. So, I have played since the last video Layers of Fear. I have watched Would You Rather and Hereditary, but obviously there are plenty of other films that I can watch and plenty of other games that I can play, so I'll probably continue to do that through the process. I also listened to an audiobook, well, the audiobook Hill House, The Haunting of Hill House, and I am currently on a book called The Girl in Red, though that isn't particularly the same kind of genre that I'm going for, and actually is creepily similar to the way that the world is now with the pandemic, so that's a strange one. But yeah, so I have decided that I'm going to start writing, and hopefully with the added help of watching films and playing the games and reading the books, I will get more inspiration as I write, but I've got to get to it, otherwise it will get to the third week of October and I will have nothing. So we're going to get to it now. I would say it was about 3 days ago since I recorded my first video, which is linked up above. Hopefully we can get some words on the page and it all makes sense, because I am completely winging it. I've got a concept, just that's it. Let's go. So I have written around about 1,000 words. I am getting weirdly numb hands. I think it's the angle I'm writing at. But I've realised that this is going to be kind of a short story, because most horror genre books are, unless you're a Stephen King novelist. So yeah, I've just basically been laying down the character development for the main character and deciding where I want to go with it. So at the minute I'm quite happy with it, though it's not spooky yet, and I don't know whether or not it should be. I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to stop now anyway, because I've got to get ready for work soon. But for just getting started and having no clue how I wanted to write this, I'm pretty happy. I do have an idea and I know where I want it to go, and I feel like writing this is literally just going to be write what you feel and don't question it. But so far, so good.
2 days later.
So last night me and Adam sat down and watched some more horror films. What did we watch? What did we watch? We watched Midsummer. Ooh, his knees! That's what the hammer's for. Babadook. And Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, I think it was. And it gave me some inspiration. Midsummer helped with kind of the mind part, the mind aspect that I can add into the house, and kind of almost how in, for some reason in horror films, you go against your basic instinct and carry on. So I got, you know, it helped. But yeah, today I'm just gonna write a bit. I've got work today, so I can't really get much done. So yeah, there's not much to add. I'm pretty happy with how I started out the story, but I do realise that horror stories are normally quite short, so they keep a fast pace to keep the reader completely involved in it. basically to create an atmosphere. So I do need to remember that I need to keep it short and sweet and concise, but also confusing. So we'll see. So I've just finished reading Get Over with Adam because I like to get that little bit of feedback just to make sure that it makes sense to other people, not just me. Also, it's a good way for me to figure out typos and all that jazz quickly. I've just spent whatever amount of time basically writing the other characters. There's 12 characters, 6 women, 6 men. And I also wanted to bring different races into it, so because I've been struggling with this for a while when I came to writing race and skin colour in general. And then I read the book Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race, and it made me realise that in the written world, in a sense, everyone's white until said otherwise, and that's wrong. Completely wrong. But also I didn't want to just go, well, they're black, they're white, that's wrong too. So I've been trying to describe people without saying their skin colour, though I want them to be these kinds of people. And I also want to write without stereotypes, in a sense. With horror in a general sense, there is that kind of joke, or not so funny joke, that they kill off the people who have sex, they kill off the people that do drugs, they kill off the people who are black, and that is wrong, and I don't want that, and I don't want to fit into these stereotypes, and I want to also bring in these characters without adding to the problem. And as a woman who's never dealt with any of those kind of stigmas, I do struggle, and I want to make sure that my writing's all inclusive, so that includes LGBTQ plus communities and any minority I do want to include. So I try and describe them in a different way, but it's I feel like I'm treading on eggshells. So I always like to read it over with Adam and make sure. What I've done in here is that I have a elderly woman who is from Africa, and she is wearing, I don't know how to pronounce it, but she's wearing an African dress, because it's one of her best dresses and it's something that they wear in weddings and things. And I did that rather than state her race, because race shouldn't be an issue. But it's so confusing, because race is an issue in present day. The colour of our skin creates so many issues, or creates so many options and privilege for other people. So writing a story that is in the future, or isn't even from a real place, still needs to correlate with the real world in a sense, so that people can relate to it. So if I wrote a book where segregation and when white privilege wasn't a thing, or if sexism wasn't a thing, and it was completely everyone, you know, the perfect world where these things didn't affect us, they would still need to be referenced because they affect us now, and no one would be able to relate to it, in my eyes anyway. But it is a big struggle, and I am a little bit worried as a white woman writing any minority, because I don't want to ever add to a stereotype or offend anyone, because it's not ever my intention. And the only way that the only way you can avoid these things is researching it. That's what I'm doing. But yeah, that's what I've been doing at the minute anyway. I've been describing just a little bit of a rant. Don't know whether or not any of that will go in, but yeah, I've 12 people, 6 men, 6 women, and it was just a quick description of them. Very, very quick. None of them have names yet, other than my main character, who it will constantly follow and is the one who's going to get through it all. Like, she's the champion, you know. I don't know whether or not they'll have names, or whether or not she'll refer to them as sweats, because one of them's wearing a sweatsuit, you know, or what. I am only 2,000 words in, so not a lot written. They're about to go into their individual rooms and get ready for an evening meal, so she'll be alone and able to discuss, we'll be able to actually talk about her as a person a lot more, whilst also maybe talking about the situation she's in a bit more, because I haven't really spoke about it. All that you know at the minute is that people die in this house and everyone knows it, yet no one's doing anything about it, and that's all we know. So yeah, I think I'll also start adding in some spooky stuff, you know. As of right now, I am enjoying writing it, but I haven't really written anything particularly horror-ish yet. It's more mystery and, oh, why? I've also decided that I'm not going to write chapters. I'm just going to write continuously, and then later in the month I can then say, oh, there's a new chapter, oh, that's where a chapter is. On my, like, quickly editing, I just need to write it, I think, and just sit down and do that for a day. I'm going to have lunch now and go and relax before I have to go to work, because I'm going to have to go in a bit. But yeah, at the minute I'm just worried about writing into cliches that I don't agree with, because that's how the horror genre works, and that's wrong. If any of you have any advice or want to talk to me about these sorts of problems, please like DM me on Instagram. I'll reply, or comment down below with some advice or information. It'd be great. So for the past couple of days, well, I haven't actually done a whole lot of writing. I did do some research on YouTube looking into actually like horror films and how they're written, to kind of get a concept of actually what do they use to make people afraid, because I know that I'm only on the introduction section of the story. I mean, I'm only 2,000 words in, so it's not really that big of a den, but at some point I know that I'm going to have to create the starting of the fear part of it. And yeah, I think the one thing I've realised is that I am going to have to choose between gore or supernatural horror, and I'm leaning more towards supernatural horror, because when you watch, for instance, like The Hostel, that's not scary, it's just uncomfortable to watch, and it's just something that you don't like to see. And describing limbs being cut off just doesn't seem my thing. Whereas obviously you watch The Origins of Annabelle, which has got kids in it and creepy stuff, you hide behind pillows. So I think supernatural scares more, in a sense. I also realised that I haven't really given... If I go down the supernatural route, I need to give a reason for the supernatural. And like, I have an idea, like occulty things going on, and that's the reason that the haunting's going on. But I don't know. I think I've more got to think about the ending than the scary stuff, because I feel like that's kind of easy to write. Like you know where it's going to go, you know that you've got to spook people out, and I know that people are going to die. So that stuff's not too big of a planning issue, but I just don't know how I want to end it. Do I want to end it with the main protagonist living or dying, or living but the reason that she was living for doesn't make any sense anymore? What do I want it to be, like Midsummer, where she decides to, she almost looks like she joins that commune? Or do I want it to be like Hereditary, where the cult seems to just take hold and she gets attacked by the cult as well? I don't know. So I think I do need to plan that out. I'm going to write a little bit, but I think for this week I've written reasonably enough and I just need to mull it over for the next couple of days. I've been kind of stuck in the house or at work, so I do need to escape the flat. So I think I might go for a walk as the leaves are changing colour and it's autumn and it's nice and pretty. I might go to the parents and take the dog for a walk or something, but yeah. My dreams are becoming so mental recently, just so much horror. It's either that or vampires, because of when I finished reading, because I've just finished reading Midnight Sun and then I rewatched all the Twilight films, so my dreams have been a mixture between horror and vampires, and I don't feel in touch with reality, to be fair. I've also been looking into the concept of sleep deprivation, insomnia, and what's it called? Sleep paralysis, because those things to me they're things that generally scare me. I cannot begin to imagine what it's like to wake up but be trapped inside your body, and obviously then with sleep deprivation and insomnia, the effects that has on your body in general, just the fact that it can affect your brain so much. So I'm thinking I might also try and research into those three things a bit more as well and incorporate that into my work, because those are real things, and that's, I think, what makes horror, is the mixture of reality and fiction. So yes, I can have a ghost that haunts everyone, but that haunting needs to affect the characters in real life ways. So sleep paralysis, sleep deprivation, things like that, how the more realistic the body reacts to the situation, the more realistic the fear will feel to the reader, I believe. So I'm gonna write anyway until I get to the spooky parts, and we'll see. So I have got to where I'm going to start the spooky stuff, and actually I'm quite happy with what I've been doing. I've created some conflict between two of the characters, and I've added stuff in that's gave me more ideas of what I want to add to the story. I do know for a fact that I am going to have to go through this and edit it, so probably by the end of the month it won't be anywhere near ready to be published. But I am enjoying where it's going. I'm going to have a break and probably get ready to go out, because I do need to actually see the outside for a bit. But yeah, I'm pretty happy. It's not too bad for 1 week worth of work. I'm on 3,500 words, so I was considering I kind of went in with no real idea. I'm quite happy with where it is. Next week I do have a solid day on my own, so I'll probably spend that day writing non-stop. But yeah, 1 week down basically. I'm quite happy with the word count and I'm quite happy with where it's going. Obviously there'll be another video next week to see how far I've got on again, but yeah, I think I've still got to watch and read and carry on playing a lot more than I have. But I've also been doing other things on the side as well, so this week I have kind of not completely committed myself to this story. So I think that's what I should be doing for the following couple of weeks. It's really hard because there's no, I like to go places to research things, and with the situation of the country at the minute, it's kind of hard to do. So I'm probably going to do a bit more research online into architecture and settings, and obviously with the horror films and TV series and everything, hopefully I should create a reasonably well researched bit of writing. But yeah, what I'm going to start is probably the research into the sleep deprivation, because I need to know more facts about that. But yeah, if you like what you're seeing, leave a like and a comment below. Don't forget to hit subscribe and the bell notification so that you can be uploaded every time I upload. This series is going to be a weekly thing until the end of October. If you missed the first video, it's here, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.